there's a point where your sense of actual real life reality and what happens here can get mixed up. Because at the end of the day, this is just a headset. This is a fake world. This does not exist. I'm sitting in my room. I don't know what you guys are, but like that's how it is. But that can get mixed up when you feel like you create connections here. And I think some people take that too far. Some people don't. Some people got their shit together. Some people got lives. But some people, I feel like, nah. Some people let this become their world, especially if they're depressed. You meet a lot of depressed people on here because it's easier to connect with people. It's easier to feel like you have almost a fake connection here because this is not real life, but you can still talk to somebody and learn everything about them and create that emotional connection with somebody. But it doesn't mean it's the same thing as going to see somebody every single day, you know?
I think everybody ends up on VRChat because they have some type of issue, like me included.
I mean, a lot of people that play this game use it as an escape.
There's two ways to look at it, right? It's very simple. You're either a creator or a consumer. If you're an artist and you create whatever that kind of art is and you create in VRChat, then you're expressing yourself and you're happy. If you're a consumer, then you live in other people's worlds and that's more complicated. Well, you're creative by entering the world and expressing yourself and your personality in the world. I'd like to think of myself as a creator, but to be honest, I'm more of a consumer.
I think that individuals who don't have an appropriate outlet for real life relationships, whether it's because they're in a situation where they can't get out, they don't have much freedom, maybe they're a teenager who doesn't have a car, maybe they live in a very rural area, they don't have a lot of friends to communicate with. Sometimes that can lead to loneliness and depression, and that might bring people into a space like this to where they can visit a whole bunch of people and not have to leave their home, not have to have a car. They don't even have to have VR headset. I mean, I do, but you don't need that to play this, and it's free. So it's a very easy and accessible, free way to socialize.
So I'll give you the red pill on this. A lot of people, they look down on people who are depressed or like socially damaged, but like obviously we don't know their story. And I think a lot of people who are on VRChat might have, you know, had difficulties with socializing in real life and both online even maybe. You know, they are socially damaged people probably, including myself. I'm quite an unfortunate human being in general. And the last thing I want is for someone to go in and troll and be like, haha, you're a degenerate. Like, yeah, I am. Leave me alone, dude. I want friends just as much as you want.
You used to be that person.
What? What do you mean?
You used to be a little troll. Do a little trolling.
I mean, I've always been a troll, but I've never put myself above someone else in a trolling experience.
I think depression can lead to like VR dependency. Like in life, we all escape. We build things to escape the mediocre things. You know what I mean? You don't want to stand in the woods with your cabin in the woods with no internet, no phones, and no one to speak to.
I mean, there are some individuals who do like that environment, and you also see in like cases of hikikomori in Japan where people go into isolation.
I obviously I come from a world where it's like, you know, I studied at drama school for 3 years, so all the actors were like, you know, high on life. They were the most extroverted people you would have ever met, but a lot of them were depressed. I think it's because a lot of creative people aren't fulfilled. You know, they go around, you know, you go into town and you just see cafe, shop, church, park. Like it's all the same. Like creative people try and go a little bit further, find something that's less mundane, less banal, and create something that's just so unique. And all the people that I've found in VRChat have been creatives. I mean, we're sat in, I don't know how to describe it, like sort of like maroon clouds hovering around a sort of starry night.
There's always going to be people like that, no matter what you do, especially in gaming, especially somewhere like this where you can be completely immersed. There's people in here who maybe do have no life, and this is their only way to connect. Because the thing about VRChat, but specifically with VR, because there's more to it, it's not all bad. People combat a lot of stuff. People combat if they're transgender and they feel like they aren't getting recognized. If they come here and they're in a guy avatar, that might make them feel better. Or if they're in a girl avatar and they're trying to transition, that makes them feel better. I personally did it because I had a lot of social anxiety and I couldn't talk to people, but here it was much easier to interact with people without feeling like I was right in front of them. And now I'm a really like social person.
So as someone who is legitimately depressed, as someone who does have these kind of issues, I can see where they're coming from. And on one hand, it can be healthy as long as you control how you view, because one way or another, you are making very real friends when you jump in VR and you start talking to people. But at the same time, I'm a grown-ass man as a fox girl.
I mean, for me, I started like playing VRChat and stuff because I live in a place where it's like really, really hard to kind of meet people. But so there definitely is like that aspect of like if you're like lonely or depressed, this depression usually comes from loneliness, that you'd go to a place where it's easy to not be lonely anymore. But I mean, VR in general, I implore everyone to at least some point in their life try VR because it is a life-changing experience. The ability to like have this controlled social environment to kind of help me test run in the real life. Yeah, because I'm a complete loner.
I'm digital proof that he's made friends on here.
Yeah, it's true, but you also never use it. You're not the kind of person that uses VRChat. Those are the only friends I've been able to make are the people who don't really use VRChat normally. Like, I don't fit into the community here, but I still go back. It's like an abusive relationship. I just go back to find friends, and then it just ends up being pain. What a lot of people do on VRChat is they just randomly add each other and then never really like talk to each other. What I did was that I just kept joining his little private worlds and like bugging him until he got attached to me.
And you meet people from everywhere. You learn a lot of shit. People from all across the world, different time zones, different cultures, different ethnicities. There's always stuff like that that makes it so beautiful. I know there's worlds for learning sign language, learning other languages. I know people who make money off of dancing here. That's their job. It's weird, but you come in here and you were just sitting there. I was feeling the feelies. I don't even know where this guy came from, but now we're having a conversation. It's so easy to come in here and talk to people, and it's so easy to create a false sense of social life. Honestly, I don't know how to make it make sense.
The problem therein lies when people stop seeing VR as VR and start seeing it as R, as reality. They stop seeing the actual physical real life friends they have.
I've been through that type of part. Or it was the only thing I've ever done was just like every day and hop on, play games, eat once, and then
take headset off for 5 minutes, eat, put headset on, take headset off for 5 more minutes,
fall asleep in VR.
You're still on VRChat in desktop mode? It's like everything in life. There are healthy ways to go about it, and there are unhealthy ways to go about it. Everything is healthy in moderation. Yeah. Even sugar itself, one of the most addictive substances on earth, is healthy in moderation.
When I joined VRChat, what was it, 2-3 years ago, I started on desktop, and then I went to Quest, and now I'm like with my Quest connected to PC, but I would not talk. I was horrible. At that time, I had horrible social anxiety, horrible team player. And this is going to be like a horrible analogy, but I will make it make sense. I used to play only support. This does make sense. This does make sense. I promise.
Wait, in League?
And after a while of being on... no, not League. At the time, Overwatch, but I would only play trust me, it's going to make sense. I would never talk. I would only play support. I would only do that. I would only be in the back of the team because at the time, I had felt like that was the only way I was useful, in the back. But after some time of being on here, and being able to talk to people, I started being able to be more extroverted IRL, and I was sort of able to crawl out of that deep space of a horrible depressive state. I don't know how this game did that. It just pulled me out of that sense of I can talk to people and it won't immediately go horribly. And then after that, I started being more of a team player, and I started playing games where I felt like I could be more in the front and I could do more shit, and I started becoming a better leader, and now I play tank. Now I make all the callouts. I move my team behind me. I am in front of them. I do my own shit now, and I make them follow me. Sort of went straight from the bottom directly to the top socially, and now I'm probably one of the most social people in my groups, just at all, IRL, in-game, whatever. But you have to integrate it into your actual life, which is where people who don't have that come in. Because if you don't integrate that in your actual IRL life, you get stuck here. You get stuck in a limbo of this is the only place you feel like you can speak. There was a time where I was only on VRC. I would be here constantly, and it was the only time I felt like I could actually have a conversation with people without feeling like I wasn't doing enough, or I wasn't having a good conversation, or I just feel like I wasn't wanted. But after a while, I feel like I had to push, and I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore, because it just makes you feel worse knowing that everything you built your whole social and your mental life on is fake as shit. So I had to like push out of that and I had to be like, yo, how about actually having an IRL conversation with somebody for once? And then when that didn't go so bad, I started integrating that then, and I got over fears. Like, now I have a job. Now I have 2 jobs because of this game. Inadvertently, I work with kids, like ISP kids, because I have ADHD, and I don't know, I'm just good with kids. But like, that's what I do. And I'm also a hostess at a restaurant, which I would never have done. If you would ask me a couple years ago if you would believe that I could be standing in front of a restaurant greeting every single person who came in, I would have told you to shut the fuck up, because there was no way in hell I was gonna turn into that. Exactly. You can't let this be your safe space for too long, because if you never push out, then you're only gonna do what works, and then you're stuck here.
Look out there. We're all just vibing. It's artwork you can walk through. And this is the reality where basically we are gods.
In terms of seeking help and stuff, just do it. Get some help if you need it. Very important.